This is Kite Cutter TV with another presentation. We gotta talk about this. Okay, guys, we got a few stories to get into. We got the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, getting caught out at a party looking like a hypocrite when he is the main one talking about social distancing, masks, and he basically shut down California for so long that residents were getting frustrated by financial strains, while him and his rich buddies don't live by the same standard which they hold the common man to. Also, the border wall is going up in hyper speed for the last part of the year because we all know that if Biden does actually win, he will undo all of Trump's illegal immigration policies that not only stop illegal aliens, but reduces the amount of drugs that cross the border. That's one topic Biden wants to stay away from because his policies will increase illegal immigration. And also, we have to understand that we are in a pandemic, not only with this coronavirus, but the amount of Americans that are dying from illegal drugs is at the highest rate recorded. We also got a few more stories too, from deportations to MS-13 gang offshoots causing havoc on the streets of the United States. Check this out.
From overseas, Polycap Acha tweets, "Please help a soldier. The Ohio soldier is trying to see his cousin again, Taba Wilfred. The two grew up together in Cameroon, Africa, but were separated by war."
Right now, Cameroon is experiencing a civil war.
Acha escaped Cameroon, came to the U.S., became a citizen, and is now a U.S. soldier. Years later, Wilfred escaped too, but got stopped at the Mexico border last year and has been detained since.
It's so difficult for military families to fully serve when their own members of their families are locked up.
Sylvie Bello runs the Cameroonian American Council. She's been advocating for the cousins and has joined protests across the country for the release of immigrant detainees.
These men and women did not jump through the fence. They went to the border and presented themselves. So they're not criminals.
Something she says they're hoping will change under a Biden presidency.
You would think that when Biden becomes president, right, these are the policies, because he is, he is right there, on the backs of, of two leaders in the presidency that have Black immigrant heritage to look into all of this.
In fact, her group teamed up with other advocates from the Ohio Immigrant Alliance. They've already started a petition to go straight to the new president's administration.
I hope that the administration and Congress will finally pass immigration reform.
She says they're hopeful it'll push the change they've been promised, protesting for, and bring families like Acha and Wilfred back together.
Former inmate firefighter from the East Bay who was hurt while fighting a recent wildfire is now facing deportation to a country where he knows no one. As KTVU's Rob Roth explains, his fate now lies in the hands of Governor Gavin Newsom.
This former California inmate firefighter, seen here with his family, is still recovering from injuries he suffered last month while battling a Northern California wildfire. Just weeks later, Bhushan Keola of Richmond finds himself in the custody of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, awaiting a probable deportation to Laos, a country his family left when he was a young child. His sister Thong worries.
It's been a sad house. Our hearts are heavy.
Keola was 16 years old when he was convicted of attempted murder in a gang-related shooting.
He was young. He got caught up in the wrong crowd.
Keola is now 39 and was just 2 weeks from completing his sentence when a burning tree fell on him while fighting the ferocious Zog fire in Shasta County. He suffered a neck injury. Days later, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation called ICE.
He literally risked his life to protect us in the state. And I think at a bare minimum, what we could have done is simply not called ICE to deport him after all of that.
Even though California is a sanctuary state, the CDRC does have the option of calling immigration.
And our prison system works extremely closely with ICE.
In a statement, the CDCR says ICE makes the determination of whether to put a hold or detainer on the inmate and is responsible for forwarding the hold or detainer to CDCR. ICE responded, quote, "On October 29th, an immigration judge ordered his removal to Laos. He will remain in ICE custody pending removal. Keola is scheduled for an interview with the Laotian consulate next month, but if Laos does not agree to accept him, Keola could stay in California. Keola is also asking Governor Gavin Newsom to pardon him so he could become a professional firefighter.
If Governor Newsom would sign the pardon letter, it would give my brother the opportunity, a real opportunity, to really, I think, expunge his, history and start brand new.
Rob Roth, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Well, Biden will not continue the border wall that was started under the Trump administration. The wall will not come down, but the new administration put a halt to the continuation of construction. While the Biden administration plans to restore protection for people brought to the U.S. illegally as minors and stop using Pentagon funds to build a border wall. Well, Biden said he wants to help find parents of hundreds of children who were separated from their parents at the border. Well, Biden said in a statement, quote, "Immigration is central to who we are as a nation," and the president-elect unveiled a detailed plan on immigration, but it will take some time to undo many of the actions taken by Trump.
First on 4, while the presidential election is over, the Trump administration is working quickly to build more miles of border wall before the year ends.
CBS 4's Iris Karami explains how one family is fighting to keep their land from the U.S. government.
Days after the election results are declared, the government is still working to build the border wall. And for the Cavazos family in Mission, this means having their land taken from them with no negotiation.
By the waiving of all these laws, the government has actually taken our due process away from us, because we go to court and we're always going to lose because we don't have the due process we're supposed to have.
Jose Cavazos says they rent land to tenants for a living and that they fear losing business due to the wall.
Once that wall goes up, they'll stop coming in. We'll be like a no man's land. They won't come in.
Cavazos says the government has asked him to move this shed on his own dime so they can build something called an enforcement zone. Cavazos also says that if they don't reach a settlement, the government says they are going to condemn his land and pay him nothing.
Either we accept the offer, or the government just comes in and takes the money. Takes the land.
Community coordinator Roberto Lopez from the Texas Civil Rights Project says this is the administration's last fighting efforts before the end of the year.
They have a goal of trying to get over 90 miles of border wall built here in the Rio Grande Valley, and that is exactly what they're going to try to do in these last few months while they have the power to do it.
He says since the Trump administration has 2 months left, they have overrode the negotiation process and have filed a motion for immediate possession.
It's an extremely aggressive tactic, and what they're saying is, we're actually not going to pay you. We're not going to continue to we're not going to negotiate further right now. We're going to take the land and we're going to build a border wall on it while we're continuing the negotiations.
Working for you in Mission, I'm Iris Karami.
Unsealed federal indictment now reveals new details and charges relating to a gruesome 2017 murder on the Albemarle-Charlottesville line. 3 alleged gang members from Northern Virginia are named. One is believed to be directly involved in the July 2017 stabbing death of Marvin Joel Rivera Guevara. His body was dumped in Moores Creek at Woolen Mills. The indictment says Andy Tovar was a leader of an MS-13 offshoot and ordered Guevara's murder. He and 2 other members of the gang, if convicted, face between 10 years and life in prison.
Today, supporters of President Trump made their voices heard here in Michigan and in other parts of the country. Brittany Flowers tells us more about what was called a Stop the Steal rally held in Lansing.
We came out to make a stand for hearing the truth.
I am out here to support our President Trump because I feel that the count was done wrong.
Hundreds of people filled the Capitol lawn Saturday demanding answers.
My questions are the same, not to come out here and be partisan necessarily about the situation, but just to make sure that fraud obviously did happen, and we want to see what really is the truth and to get the accurate counts.
President Donald Trump has now filed 2 lawsuits against Michigan. The first was dismissed, but a judge has not released a decision about the second, filed earlier this week. It cites multiple witness accounts of election irregularities, incompetence, and unlawful vote counting.
There's obviously a lot of questions around the election.
Miscalculations, misrepresentation, a lot of fraud, a lot of ballots that are not correct.
As for where these claims are coming from,
The information I am getting off conservative websites and off Twitter and off of anything that we can get it off.
not everyone at the rally was in support of the president, however. A confrontation between a man holding this sign led to a police escort out of the crowd. As for the election results, many people say they won't be satisfied until every legal vote is counted again.
We need to have this straightened up.
Maybe Trump won and maybe Biden won, but in the end, it matters what kind of elections we have.
All of this comes amid reports that Governor Gavin Newsom attended a birthday dinner for one of his political advisors that did not follow COVID-19 regulations. KTV's Tom Vakar has more now on the event in question and the response from the governor's office. Tom.
Well, at best, it was a lapse in judgment, but at the worst, it was a loss of some very hard-earned credibility.
The collective agenda.
Friday the 13th was a bad luck day for Governor Gavin Newsom as news broke that the previous Friday he and his wife attended a birthday party with at least 12 in attendance at one of wine country's most posh bistros, the French Laundry. This comes at a time when the governor and his administration are telling Californians to do everything they can to avoid crowds and parties, even with extended family members. Specifically, state guidelines advise individuals not to be in groups from more than 3 different households in the same space.
We have the guidance and the tips for a reason. We believe they are the strategies to keep ourselves and our communities safe, and we hope and expect people to take them seriously.
The governor's defenders say that the party was held outside, which is on its face safer, and they claim that there was no violation of either state guidelines or restaurant industry rules.
I don't think it's advisable.
Dr. and Professor John Schwartzberg is board certified in internal medicine and infectious diseases and is emeritus of the UC Berkeley School of Public Health.
At a public restaurant, you're adding some risk to yourself because you don't know who the other people around you are.
Governor Newsom issued this statement. While our family followed the restaurant's health protocols and took safety precautions, we should have modeled better behavior and not joined the dinner.
Our governor made a mistake. And he's admitted it. He apologized for it, and it wasn't the best judgment.
Dr. Schwartzberg says that back on June 1st, the nation was shocked and scared when the number of daily cases reached 20,000. Yesterday, we hit 160,000 cases just as the holidays are coming.
It's 8 times riskier today than it was then. So the holidays are coming up. This is a time when everybody who is exhausted with COVID wants to be with people, wants to be with their loved ones, wants to celebrate. And this is the worst time in our entire pandemic to do those things.
In other words, says the doctor, it's just too risky right now. Tom Vakar, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, Tom, and obviously I get it. The governor apologized, but boy, the optics, not good here.
Right. Well, it's all about optics, and you have enough people that have already said that there's a conspiracy here, that nobody should be wearing masks, that this is taking away their freedom. And then when you have something like this, it just plays into that. So it's becoming even more politicized.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, God bless. Peace.